Hey NFL fans, this is Gary Greene, longtime sports handicapper and professional sports bettor here in Las Vegas for the past 35 years, and this is the Gary Wins videos, and this is your Thanksgiving Day first course of 3 courses for the day game that starts 9:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And we have the 4-7 Bears traveling to take on the number 1 team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions, coming in at 10-1. The stunning fact for this game is that the Detroit Lions have not won on Thanksgiving Day since, get this, 2016. And I remember many Thanksgivings waking up, and I love this early game, get it going against the Detroit Lions, and the Lions would get crushed year after year after year, and it would be easy money. It's a totally different team now. This ain't your mama's Detroit Lions. This team is good. And this Detroit Lions team is going to be tough to beat the rest of the way, all the way right up to a possible Super Bowl berth. As for the Chicago Bears, okay, the Chicago Bears come in. They are the biggest off-season letdown. Everyone predicted them and their number 1 pick to do everything and get this team finally into the playoffs, but it has not transpired. This team's been a disaster since day one. Poor head coaching. Caleb Williams hasn't really played well. The entire team is at blame. There's only a few guys that have really overachieved all year on this Chicago Bears team, but the Lions come in right now, best team in the NFL, 40 points a game or more their last 3 home games. So they're lighting it up at home. For the Bears, I guess we're going to do a lot of good news, bad news for this video. First, good news. Their new offensive coordinator, Brown, had his first game last week. He's got a totally different philosophy. His philosophy is pass the ball behind the line of scrimmage and not try to throw it down the field where it might take a little bit too long for the receivers to get open. Williams has been on the run. He's been getting sacked. He's getting pressured. He's throwing, some bad balls. He's throwing a lot of balls away. All of a sudden they do that, and what happens? Their number 1 wide receiver, Moore, catches 7 passes, all behind the line of scrimmage, but he ends up with 96 total yards and a touchdown catch. So this is good news for an offense that didn't have a touchdown pass completion for the prior 4 weeks. So you got to start somewhere. A little bit of a bonus there, I guess, positive-wise. Next up, we're gonna see this transpire, though, against a Detroit Lions defense that is 4th best in the league when opposing teams are throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage to try to get their catches and get a little block in there and get a break open, maybe big play, 20, 30-yard play. So when you're having trouble getting passes down the field, you try to get it into their good guys' hands, try to see if they can be elusive and make some plays. Last week it worked for the Bears. We don't know if it's going to be able to work against this Detroit defense that's very good in that department. Now for the Detroit Lions offense, we'll start with them. Super loaded offense. There's been 9 receivers on the Lions so far this year that now average double-digit yardage per catch. That is phenomenal. Next up, we have, obviously, Jared Goff, who's possibly right there in for the MVP. Other than a 1-5 interception game, this guy's been off the charts and been throwing dimes all year, near perfection in some games. One game he was perfect. The running back duo of Gibbs and Montgomery, by far the best running back group in the NFL, not even close. This is a combined running back tandem, 1,500 rushing yards, 21 rushing touchdowns on the year. And they're going to go against the Bears defense that's number 26th ranked versus the run this year. So again, the Detroit Lions, we hear a lot about a lot of different players on this team, but the wide receiving core is, to me, the most underrated in the league. I've been saying this for a couple years. That St. Brown is one of the best 3 wide receivers in the league. When they need that big catch, he gets it every single time. Fantastic talent that doesn't get talked about much. But again, other than the 5 crazy interceptions in one game that Goff had against Houston, in this other 7 games in the last 8 games, he has 0, folks. 0 interceptions. So some days you just come out like a pitcher in baseball and you just ain't got it. And for whatever reason, the Texans defense is good. And we told you about that when we did a preview on that video. That was a primetime TV game. But the bottom line is the guy's been almost perfect for every other game. He had one slub in that season, and especially in the last 8 weeks. Now for Detroit, 7 times this year the offense has hit at least one pass for over 35 yards in a game, so they are a big play team, and that usually opens up due to the fact that you can't, you have to load the box to stop these runners. These guys don't go down on the first hit. Gibbs is elusive, and he'll get onto the outside, and he's just gone. And Montgomery just bulldozes you. And when they get close to the goal line, they're going to score almost every time. Now, that's all good news. We do have a bad news. Sometimes you got to reach a little bit, but the bad news for this Detroit Lions offense is their starting left tackle, Decker, is not going to start. So they're going to have to sub in with Skipper. And Skipper ain't a good player, folks. I'm all for offensive line, defensive line matchups. That's one of my major things and how I've been winning for 35 years. This isn't just a drop-off. This is a gigantic drop-off. In fact, Penny Sewell has allowed like 10 pass rushers to get close to the quarterback this year. Skipper in 50 snaps has allowed 5. So that's the difference. You're going to be at a big negative with him in there at left tackle. We'll see if this makes a difference in this game. But again, that's not the number one offensive line right now with him in there instead of Decker. Now we'll go over and look at the Bears. And the Bears, again, a huge disappointment. But let's look at the Bears' 4 wins. They come against Tennessee, the Rams, Carolina, and Jacksonville. Their combined records are 13-31. Okay, 13-31. So it's not been a good year for the Bears unless they were playing one of the worst teams in the NFL. And the Rams aren't one of the worst. The other 3 are close to it. Now we look at the Bears' first pick, Caleb Williams. Good news, no interceptions the last 5 weeks. To me, that means a lot. That shows a lot. That means he's progressing. He's learning to throw the ball away and not take a stupid play. And this team has been in some close games. Unfortunately, they have had heartbreak city. And since the Hail Mary pass by the Commanders, this team went dropping like a ton of bricks from the top of a building. They are crashing hard. Again, the bad news, only 2 touchdown passes for Caleb Williams in the past 5 games. Again, we'll go back to good news. The good news here is the 2 touchdown passes came last week. So you got to find positives for teams that there's not a lot going on right now. The bad news for the Bears defense, the last 2 weeks, 2 solid quarterbacks. Jordan Love of Green Bay, Sam Darnold of Minnesota, 2 of the better teams in the league. This defense allowed these 2 to combine for 35 for 51, for 591 yards and 3 touchdowns, 119 passer rating. Okay, that's not good news. Why is this happening? Their top defensive end, Sweat and Dexter, they have not been generating any pass pressure. They're not getting anything close to what they expect to with this Sweat. And the funny thing is he was on the Commanders and he did the same thing for us for most of the time. So he was an underachiever for the amount of money he's getting paid. The good news is they do still have one of the best cornerbacks in the league in Jalen Johnson. So he can at least eliminate maybe one of the wide receivers, probably St. Brown for Detroit. But the bad news, and it just goes back and forth, and the bad news is their other cornerback, Stevenson's been getting torched all year. He's one of the worst cornerbacks in the league. Detroit, though, they don't need to have over amount of good news coming into this game. The whole season's been fantastic news. That's all that's been for this team, really. As far as the Detroit pass defense, 1 negative for them. And again, we haven't found too many of them, but they're pass interferences. Their young guys especially get called for a lot of pass interferences. If we get into a game and there's a lot of pass interferences, that's going to greatly increases the Chicago Bears' chances to stay in this game. But again, if the philosophy is to throw it behind the line of scrimmage, you're not going to get any pass interferences. So we'll learn a lot about this offensive coordinator for the Bears, Brown, in this game tomorrow. The key here for me is that I doubt that the Detroit Lions would let up in this game. Normally, a great team playing a bad one that's struggling might take the foot off the gas, look ahead. The look-ahead game is Green Bay, which is gigantic next week for Detroit. But when you haven't won on Thanksgiving, folks, since 2016, and Goff came right out and said, we got to win. We got to finally get a victory on Thanksgiving. You know, it ain't too fun to go home and eat your turkey dinner after you lost. every single Thanksgiving game. So this is a very, very good spot for Detroit. They're catching the Chicago Bears reeling. Chicago has nothing to play for whatsoever except pride, and I don't know if pride's going to get the job done on the road on a short week at Detroit. But this is a Bears team that's lost 5 straight games. 3 of the 5 games came on the final play or in overtime. Think about that. It's hard to just keep getting back up off the mat in any sports. When I talk, I've done a lot of videos, if you watch them, bubble burst videos. This bubble burst and it just keeps bursting, and it's actually getting worse. It's not like they're just getting blown out. They're hanging in and hanging in and hanging in and still losing anyway, and that was a soul-crushing loss again last week in overtime. So we don't have a pick on this game, but for those that have been watching the videos, my prop picks, free prop picks here for videos this year has gone to an 11-0 record, which is something that's just not normal. And I'm not even a prop guy, really. I started doing it a little bit of fun when I didn't have a side on a game. I found a prop that I liked, and I gave it, and lo and behold, we're sitting here on Thanksgiving Day 11-0. So we're going to put that 11-0 on the line. Our last one, A.J. Brown, to score a touchdown on Sunday night, got there. Everything that I said in that video got there, so that was nice. But we're going to go with 2 different prop picks here, and we'll see if this doesn't end our streak or just gets us to a lucky 13. But my first prop bet is that Detroit rushes for 100 yards or more in this game. Okay, how have they done this year in games, 12 games or 11 games, rushing so far for 100 yards? Well, they did it all 11. Make it 12. The Bears can't stop this running attack. My second one is, will the Bears running backs rush for a touchdown? Yes, 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 yes. So there's 2 props there. You could do them separate. I'm not a parlay guy, but if you want to parlay them together, I don't know what the odds are. I haven't even done it yet. I made this up earlier today, and I'm just getting a chance to tape it now because I've been watching college basketball all day. But I would have leaned to Detroit here without a doubt. But losing that left tackle, and left tackle is such a key position, especially when your quarterback is a guy like Goff that's not really a runner. They need that extra protection, and Skipper's not going to get the job done. I wouldn't be surprised he allows 2 sacks in this game. But, to lay double digits, tough to do there. There's nothing that makes me ever jump on bad teams. Betting bad teams is just a way to lose your bankroll. I've said this a million times, but like the Eagles and the other teams, when they're red hot and they're running full steam ahead, Barkley, 180 yards a game rushing for the Philadelphia Eagles, this late in the year, the fresh legs, bottom line is these things don't change much. Now, admirations happen because of turnovers, special teams, blocked field goals, things of that nature that can cost you a little bit. Sometimes you can actually have the right handicap and still lose the game. It's still better to be that way than to win on the wrong side, because if you're winning on the wrong side, you're going to be a long-time loser. Trust me with that. So you got 2 prop bets again. Detroit as a team rushes for over 100 yards. Detroit running backs rush for at least 1 touchdown. And we want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and may all your bellies be full, and hopefully you'll have a good day, and all your wagers will be winning ones. We have a great football day, but we also have a great college basketball day, and we have been on fire in college basketball, although I started today with 2 of my worst losses, maybe all time, like ever. And Indiana got bombed, and before I opened my eyes fully for the morning, we got blown away. And I was stunned at that. And then we lost with Gonzaga, given 15. They lost straight up. And I said, whoa, this might not be a good Thanksgiving. But we caught some breaks. Auburn team won again for us. They're the number 1 team in the country now. They've passed Gonzaga. I said that they were in the group of 3 to 8 behind Tennessee, whose defense is just suffocating. It's the Houston of the last few years. But I got a flip right now. Auburn just looks so good to me. They're so fluid, and the Broom kid's going to possibly have the best opportunity to win an MVP because they score 85, 90 points a game. But college basketball, check back for all our videos all weekend long. It's going to be a long weekend of college football, big games, rivalry week. I'm going to do 3 or 4 videos on some key rivalry games this weekend. Texas A&M stands out to me to be the biggest one with so many ramifications on the line. And so check out, save us, bookmark us at Gary Wins Videos, and you'll catch and know exactly when I load up another video. It's crazy. I'm working like 15, 16, 18, 19-hour days. Sometimes I'm up till 3 in the morning doing doing videos, and I got to get my guy up just to do the graphics part of the videos because I don't do that. So it's been a little tough, but trying to get you as much helpful betting information as we can to make you informed and winning sports better. And hopefully you can be winning better. Just please, folks, never bet what you cannot afford to lose, and do not bet parlays. Have a happy Thanksgiving, gals and guys.